JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. November 25th, 2024, 8:57 a.m. on this fine Monday. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Talk really quick about the markets, some names I'm looking at. Go from there. Take a look. Say holiday shortened week. Also, don't forget markets are closed Thursday for Thanksgiving and a half session Friday. One of my top two favorite sessions of the year. Uh, the day after Thanksgiving. All right. So take a look at the SPY futures are higher. Following through on last week's rally, S&P was up 5 sessions in a row last week. Uh, Pretty much, I was saying once NVIDIA's earnings came out and they were, better than expected, raised guidance, and markets kind of digested. I was like the elephant was off the back, right? And now I think 600 is almost like a foregone conclusion here on a SPY pending a shenanigans, which we actually just tapped 600 here in the pre-market, and then maybe some kind of blue sky breakout, 610 or so. And I was mentioning last week, I don't want to be in too much stuff because the worst days, like great week last week, great week the week before, Lemonade, some of these other names, phenomenal. But then all it takes is one day or 2 days of just a rough pullback, and then maybe hold, and then the next day there's continuation, and then it just almost gives back all those gains. So don't want to be in a spot where that happens. So I'll continue to look to kind of I guess harvest the gains is what I've said before. Take some profits and then be selective on some of the names I get. And if I do get some names, they'll be probably most likely into 2025. So that's the overall market. Once we break that 600, that will be, if we break and hold it, that'll be support. 595 underneath. After the election, we had that big move up and then a little bit of melt. Seemed like that 595 held on the SPY, so I'll be watching out on any craziness. And I also said shenanigans on the watch list. So shenanigans, I'm talking about geopolitical stuff, right? And then also at some point, we're going to have a move in crypto. There's going to be, 6% move to the down. Well, I wouldn't say that. Who knows? But that would be kind of like some possible headwinds that might happen, shenanigans that might pull the market. So that's overall markets, small caps, up 4% last week, recouping the previous week's losses. And I think they're ready for a severe outperformance into the end of the year. I'm talking, I think they just caught the Dow for year-to-date gains. I think they'll have the best gains for all indexes into the end of the year. So watching it today, uh, small cap futures up over 1%. Where are they right now? 1.4%. I don't want to see it go too nuts, right? Slow and steady wins the race. Holds that 240 on IWM. I think that bodes well. And then the yields. And the yields were slightly lower last week and gapping lower a little bit this morning. I guess the Treasury Secretary nomination from POTUS to kind of, I guess, alleviate some concerns there. I don't know, but I'll take the lower yields. All right, so now individual names. Like I said, small caps I think it's my favorite, and I've talked about small caps. The reason I like them is because less covered stock equals opportunity, in my opinion. I mean, it means opportunity to be real wrong, but it also means opportunity to be real right, especially real right if other people either don't know about it or if they're the other way, right? They're short. So I continue to look at names, small caps, and Travelzoo is one into 2025. I said, it was $15 when I started getting the calls. Maybe it was lower than that. Here it is, all-time high of not all-time, maybe soon. 52-week highs on Friday. Probably breaks over $20 here today. It's somewhat illiquid, so it makes it tough to get to strikes. But at some point, this is the week I'll probably get some strikes to play for move into the low to mid 20s. It's just a great story if they're able to convert. I got another email, so I went to search all the emails, and I've been following. Typically, when I have a stock, I either I've used the product or I've done due diligence, right? Signed up for the mailer, used the whatever it is. So with Travelzoo, I've signed up for that probably 15 years ago, whatever it is. So I get their daily emails, right? And this is the second email they sent in regards to existing members having a premium membership starting in 2025. So to me, that means that it's like an untapped, it's like a big tree waiting with sap there, and you just got to put the little spigot in there and get all the syrup out. That's kind of how it looks. Like an untapped possible revenue stream for Travelzoo. That's I think totally being ignored by the investment community or people who don't even. I wouldn't say ignored. It's just not. It's $240 million company, so it's not like it's not a sexy name that everybody looks at, but it's the original one too. I call it the OG. It's one of the first travel platforms and services out there. So I think it goes crazy into 2025. So that's Travelzoo. TDOC had news this morning. It's gapping higher. They have expanding their AI capabilities. I mean, I don't think it's like a Tinder box. I keep using these analogies and get some imagery to help understand how I feel about some of these names, but with Teladoc, it's like there's a bunch of tinders sitting on the in a forest, and all needs a little spark. And I don't think it even needs news to take off. I thought it was going to trade on its own merits. You look at the chart, that 200-day moving average, it's like it hasn't traded over that in years, and it's 1105. It's gapping above that this morning. I think as a break, run and gun. I think 1250 plus now, if not higher. Another name that's one of those, it was it was hot in COVID, has sold. I think it's been oversold to the point where I think it bounces regardless of what goes on. And then now you'll have the FOMO crowd, and maybe this goes to 15, 18, 20. Certainly could. So you also have Zoom earnings this week. I don't know how much impact that'll have on TDOC, but I think it's off to the races. So added some more strikes on Friday. I'm not sure if I'll add strikes. I'll probably do some harvesting today and just hold on to the January strikes. So that's Teladoc. And here's the long-term chart. I don't even know where the 200-day moving average is. It's before 2022, so you're talking 2 years of pretty much languishing below its long-term trend line, right? So that's a downtrend. So huge opportunity, I think, for upside there. That's Teladoc. When I say huge opportunity, like if it goes to 15, then you start looking at 10 bags on some of these calls in a very short period of time, and that's if it happens this week. It's a name that could squeeze it. It could squeeze today over $12. That's Teladoc. Unity looks like day 5 here today. It's gapping over 24. It's 24.42. It closed at 20. What we closed? 23.80, 23.53 yesterday. It's almost up $1. Ouch. I put on the watches. I call me crazy. I think it's over $30 into 2025, or started 2025. It might be $30 by December. I mean, December's Sunday, or next week's the start of December. So maybe that's a little too, but it's had a history of these moves too, where it rallies and then it gives it back. So I'm cautiously optimistic here. I was going to add some more strikes. They actually added more strikes. CBOE added more individual dollar increments, which makes it a little easier to trade on the monthlies. I was actually looking at January 38th last week. I'll just hold what I have for now, and maybe if it breaks 25, but I'll continue to harvest some of the January strikes I have there. Not much here to add on Lemonade. I was saying it last week too. The $60 is probably like the pull the ripcord target for my December strikes. I'm not going to be overly greedy there. I'll probably look to close the last of my Novembers today, unless it breaks and takes off 50. If it goes to back over 52, then I'll hold on with both hands. But if not, I don't want to be in a spot where tomorrow there's a $10 gap down for some BS analyst news or catalyst or what have you. So that's Lemonade. Joby, it seems like every name is gapping up this morning. Joby, it hit $8 this morning in the pre-market. I wake up, I'm looking at the futures or whatever, and I type in Joby. I'm like $8. It tapped to 816 about 5:15 this morning. It's kind of petering down here. I'm not a big fan of gaps. So as much as I'd love to see it open at $8, I'm more for the long term on Joby. I think it's better for the long term for a strong supported move to the upside. So don't get me wrong, I would love to see it at 816 sometime after the open. But still looking for some April strikes there. It's a name, I think it trades $10 early 2025, and then much higher into the middle of the year, just as it becomes a fiction story to an actual reality story with approvals and actual possible services starting out 2025. Peloton just broke the $10 handle this morning. I still have my January strikes. I've been patient there, adding some more. If it holds 10 today, and the thing is tight, the Bollinger Bands, it's had a strong 4-day run last week. So it's above the upper Bollinger Band. It's going to need some real buying pressure, which means like the FOMO, the meme crowd might have to come in and help support it. But if it holds 10, maybe I'll look for some trades for a spot, maybe to break 15 or so. But still like this one, especially you go into the new year and you have New Year's resolutions and fitness, and I mean, I can go on a rant for a while on Peloton. I don't have time right now, maybe this afternoon. Square's been disappointing. I think Benchmark downgraded them this morning. And then now it says BMO Capital just downgraded them, is right? Yeah. They downgraded to market perform from outperform and raised their price target 104 from 94. So it's one of those, we're downgrading the stock, but we're going to raise our price target. I just don't get that. But I think Benchmark Capital downgraded Square today. To me, it's like getting in front of a Mack truck, right? If you want to wait, I'd probably start adjusting your rating and your price targets after it stops doing this overshoot. I think Square can go to 110, 115. So Still like Square here. Still have my hundreds I have to close out this week, my freebies, and then I add those December strikes. Hopefully, get a nice move here today. Gets over 95. I'm probably not going to add anything more on Square. And then Dell. So there's still earnings this week, and there's actually data. I talked PC data Wednesday. We have the Fed minutes, and then there's earnings. I think there's the second read on GDP, which GDP is a backward-looking number, so I don't really care too much about that. But then there's CrowdStrike, Dell, HPQ, Workday, Zoom, Coles. So still a lot of earnings. Tuesday after the close is the names I'm watching. The Dell, the implied moves over 9%. You start looking at the premiums, tough on a risk reward basis. So I'll probably just sit on my hands. They're going to post another monster quarter. Huge. There's going to be like 6 billion backlog. I don't know what that's going to be. Eyes will all be on the margins. But if it trades to 155 or so, it's still the calls are expected. It's gapping this morning again. So I'll probably just sit on my hands. HPQ also reports, but that's one of those slower names. And it already had a huge move back in the spring on its earnings. So I'm not as convicted in those names. I think they're going to trade higher. I think they're great stories, but it's hard to trade those binary events because if they don't have a large move, the premium is just going to get evaporated. And I'm going to be kicking myself. So I'll just sit on my hands there. And I think that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.